Pittsburgh. Thanks for joining us for this COVID-19 and city news briefing for Wednesday, January 26th. We'll start with today's numbers for our two hospitals, Forest General and Merit Health Wesley. As of this morning, there are 145 people in our hospitals with COVID, and of those 145, 27 are in the ICU, and of those 27, 10 are on ventilators. Just as you can see, we've kind of seen some big spikes in those numbers over the last 30 days. We haven't quite yet hit a peak yet. We're hoping that's coming soon, but definitely above where we were a year ago when we were coming out of New Year's. Not as high as we saw in Delta in the late summer, early fall. So just some information about those who were in the hospital today. Of the 145 in the hospitals, 58 were fully vaccinated. I will say that, again, the definition of fully vaccinated is 2 shots of Pfizer or Moderna. That does not include people who were boosted, and so that's why we encourage you to get that booster shot if you haven't already. Of the 27 in the ICU, 7 were fully vaccinated, and of the 10 on ventilators, 2 were fully vaccinated. Just some information compared to a week ago in terms of hospitalizations. This week we're at 145, last week we were at 128, and then our ICU utilization is up by 3 over last Wednesday as well. New cases, these are actually yesterday numbers. Today's numbers haven't come out yet. Forest County had 132 new cases. Lamar County had 75 new cases. And our 7-day average, this is the number of new cases per day that we're averaging over a week's time. Forest County under 200 now at 199.43. Lamar County at 165.57. Compared to a week ago, this is down for both counties. And I'll go into this a little bit more in just a few moments. But Forest County, a week ago we were at 200. We're down by 1 today. We'll take it. Lamar County down by about 16 new cases per day. This is the inside 14-day number. This is the number of people in both counties who have tested positive in the last 2 weeks. Forest County 2890, Lamar County 2487. That 5,377 is the highest number in that inside 14-day number for the 2 counties since this pandemic began in March of 2020. This morning, we actually just got off our weekly conference call with our healthcare providers, Department of Health, Emergency Management, our schools and universities, and there are 2 real points I want to focus in on this morning. First of all, hospitalized COVID patients are once again putting pressure on acute and ICU bed capacity at Forest General and Merit Health Wesley. In the entire city right now, we have 7 acute beds available with 2 ICU beds available, and so we're starting to see, the COVID patients start to take up that bed capacity. Now, when we talk about hospital capacity, and this is important, we're talking about space, yes, beds, but we're also talking about staffing to man those beds, as well as the stuff that it takes, ventilators, things like that, to make those beds go. So right now we're at 7 and 2 inside the city, and one hospital is completely full right now. With that said, hospital capacity does change throughout the day. Typically in the mornings they discharge a lot of people, and then in the afternoon as the ER visits kind of translate into hospitalizations, you'll see that capacity kind of dry up again. But as of 9 a.m. this morning, citywide we had 7 acute beds and 2 ICU beds, and again, both our hospitals serve 18 and 19 counties respectively. Omicron is milder, as we've talked about before, but when 5,300 people, that inside 14-day number, when 5,300 people test positive in a 2-week time period, some of those are going to need a bed. And so even though the percentage of those who need hospitalization is small, when you have 5,300 people test positive, that number is going to grow. Just to compare Delta variant to this one, at the peak of the Delta variant, the inside 14-day number was at 3,100, and we're at 5,300. So yes, it's milder, but when there's so many more total cases, you're going to end up with a lot of people in the hospital. But even with that, there is a glimmer of hope that we talked about this morning. We are starting to see daily averages in new positive cases start to creep down, albeit very slightly. Just starting with just the number of people going in for tests. Hattiesburg Clinic, the week of January 9th, had 5,397 people just go in and ask for a test. Doesn't mean they tested positive, they were either exposed or had symptoms and they went in for a test. A week ago, the week of January 16th, that fell from 5,397 to 4,588. So that's a good sign, even though 48% of those people tested positive. This week, the first 3 days, we've only had 648 people go in to get a test at Hattiesburg Clinic. So those are promising signs that maybe those averages are coming down. Jody Waits, who is the administrator in Lamar County, gave some very detailed information as well with just county-wide data. Lamar County, the 7-day average that we just went over, is at its lowest point since January 13th. Now, I realize that's not very long ago, but still, it's progress. Forest County 7-day average is at its lowest point since January 15th. Yesterday, I showed that Lamar County had 75 new cases. Well, that's the lowest one-day total since January 11th. Still way too many, but still promising sign. Forest County's 132 new cases yesterday, still way too many, but it was the lowest one-day total since January the 4th. Good signs there. So right now, just based on 7-day averages, it looks like Lamar County hit its peak on January 18th. Forest County hit its peak on the 20th, unless something changes and things go back up, but hopefully we're seeing the start of a trend here. This is still a dangerous disease, and all of these numbers are entirely too high and higher than they were in Delta. But even though we're starting to see numbers start to come down, understand that it's going to take a week, at least a week, for our hospital system to catch up and start seeing declines there. Maybe even 2 weeks. So again, that's why the first point of hospital bed capacity starting to really kind of get tight is so important, because we may maybe another week or two before we start to see that come down, even when infection numbers start to go down. So with all that said, we remind you there are a few things you can do to kind of help us keep this trend going down in the right direction. Get your vaccine or booster shot. Wear a mask when you're out in public or around other people. Most importantly, stay home if you're sick. This Omicron variant is very contagious, and we don't want to see more people get sick. We want to see this trend of new positive cases. It's going down slightly. We want to keep going down. Speaking of vaccines, just want to give you an update on where we are in each county. Forest County is still at 41% fully vaccinated. We have had 78 people go in since Friday to get their first dose. Lamar County still at 58% fully vaccinated. We've had 91 go in since Friday to get their first dose. The big thing here is if it's been 6 months since your Pfizer or Moderna second shot, or 2 months since your J&J shot, it's time to go get a booster if you have not already. Also, covidtest.gov is your place where you can get free at-home COVID-19 tests mailed to your home. You can get 4 per household. I encourage you to go to covidtest.gov and fill out the form to get those sent. The more that we test early and keep people from getting out in public and spreading it, the more we're going to see these numbers continue to go down. Several pieces of city news for you yesterday. Actually, on Monday, we announced that the Department of Archives and History had given the Sanger Theater, through the City of Hattiesburg and the Convention Commission, a $250,000 grant as part of their community preservation grants to replace some of the plaster that's been starting to flake off the ceiling and the walls. This is about a $700,000 project, but $250,000 coming from the state, thanks to Archives and History and our legislative delegation, particularly Representative Missy McGee, who ran point on this grant. That's a big chunk for Hattiesburg to get in a preservation grant, and so we're excited about this project. Each generation has a duty to do its part to keep this building up, because it is the home, and has been for a long time, of so many cultural events, movies, dances, concerts, and we want to make sure that place remains strong for the next generation. Also want to remind you to park smart. I did a Facebook post about this last week. I think WDAM ran a story on this a couple of days ago, but even still, last night we had 2 auto burglaries. Both cars were unlocked. There was a handgun stolen out of one of the unlocked cars. And so the way that you park smart is you remove your valuables, you lock your vehicle, take your keys with you. Again, 2 burglaries just last night, unlocked vehicles, and a gun was stolen. Common sense, just basic precautionary things can keep our neighborhoods safer. Also want to remind those who are looking for a career change, we're taking applications for both our next Police Academy and our Fire Academy. You can go to hattiesburgms.com/jobs to fill out your application, both for the Police Academy or the Fire Academy. And finally, Act of Courage. We had been promoting a booster clinic last Saturday, and we had 100 people show up to get their booster shot. We thank you for those who came out and did that, or for those who helped spread the word. We're especially grateful to Hattiesburg Clinic staff who volunteered to come out on a Saturday at C. Roy Community Center to do this work. We appreciate Pearl River Community College, Forest County campus's nursing students, the University of Southern Mississippi's nursing students, and the William Carey University DO students. All of these healthcare programs grow the next generation of healthcare professionals, and these students are getting hands-on experience right now during a time when staffing at our healthcare facilities is really at a premium. And so to our city staff, Betsy Mercier, Samantha McCain, our Parks and Rec staff who helped put this on, our fire department who showed up, as well as all of the Hattiesburg Clinic staff and students, we're very grateful for you. Also, our Junior Auxiliary is hosting a spring workshop for career readiness and success, and this is available to women in our area on Saturday, February 5th. If you just want to save the date on this, if you know someone who could use this, 10 a.m. to 11:30 at First Presbyterian Church on the 5th. As we continue into the week, remember to wash your hands, take care of yourself, wear a mask when you're around others, get your vaccine or your booster shot, and most of all, be kind. Have a great rest of the day.